So this is problem 6-8 from the textbook. For this one, we have this truss system. There are pins at A and B, and there has some external forces on it. Um, so one thing to note is because there's pins at both A and B, those each have an X and a Y component. So if we do a free body diagram of the whole system, we can only handle 3 unknowns. There would actually be 4 unknowns, so we can't actually start there. Um, However, if we look and notice that if we go to, and we're just thinking like the overall approach right now, but if we go to joint D, we know the 600 Newton force, there are just 2 unknowns, so we can solve that. Um, and then if we move from there down to, say, joint C, there would be 2 additional unknowns. And then from that point, we could then move finally to joint E, um, which would just have the 2 unknowns here and here. So we have an approach we can do without having to solve for those reaction forces. And we take a quick look and make sure there are no zero force members, which we don't see any. So we'll just jump right into the joint. So we'll start with that joint D, like we had talked about. So here's D. Draw all the forces. So 600 newtons was that external force. Then we have DE, which is going to need to be in compression to counteract that 600 Newton force. And then we have CD, which will need to be down to counteract that DE going up. So if we sum our forces in the x direction equals 0, we get, and we know we were able to figure out, because it's 6 meters over from A to B and then 8 meters up. And so we can reduce that to 3 meters over and 4 meters up. And that's a 3, 4, 5 triangle. So I'm just going to do 3, 4, 5 here. But so summing the forces in the x direction equal to 0. So we have that x component of dE, which would be 3 over 5 times dE minus 600 newtons equals 0. So dE equals 600 times 5 over 3, which comes out to 1,000 Newton. So dE, and then we can sum the forces in the y direction. And then with that, we get the y component of dE, which would be 4 over 5 times that 1,000 newtons minus CD equals 0. And so we get CD equals just that 1,000 times 4 over 5, which comes out to 800 newtons. I forgot to write DE is actually in compression. It's pointed towards the joint. And then CD is, we were correct in guessing that it's in tension. So draw a T there that's away from the joint, so pulling on the joint. So now we got joint D. The next plan was to go down to joint C. So we have C. There's that external force. It's 900 newtons. We have CD, which is 800 newtons. It's in tension, so it's pulling away. Then we have CE, which would need to be in compression. And then we have BC, which will need to be in tension to counteract that 800 Newton force. So sum the forces in the x direction equals 0. We get CE minus 900 equals 0. So CE equals 900 newtons in compression. And sum the forces in the y direction equals 0. That equals 800 minus BC. So BC equals 800 newtons in tension. Oh, I can't read my writing there. So BC and CE. So now we need to move over to joint E to get those last two members. So joint E. For E, we have DE, which is 1,000 newtons in compression. 1,000, not 100. Then we have CE, which we found to be 900 newtons in compression. And we have BE, so in this direction, and we have AE. So B, E, and AE. So it's like AE is going to also need to be in compression, and then BE, I'm going to guess this needs to be in compression also, but we'll see how it plays out. We know some things about these directions, like this here is a 3, 4, 5 triangle. And then for this other one, we need to figure that out. So the BE, what is the direction or whatever here? So I'm going to go back up to the original diagram. So BE, so we know this is a 3, 4, 5 triangle. So we can figure out what this angle is. Will that help us though? Let's see. So yeah, we need to figure this out. So we have 4 meters. Let's see what this length of that CE is right here. So we know that's 4 meters. Do we know? We know that this here is 4 meters, and we know this is a 3, 4, 5. So it goes over 3, down 4, down 5. And so we can figure out what this angle right here is. Let's call it theta. So tangent of theta is going to equal opposite over adjacent. So actually I drew that triangle wrong. Sorry. Do the same. Put it down here. So what 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. So tangent theta is going to equal opposite over adjacent. So 4 over 3. So theta is going to equal I'm gonna use my calculator. And it's 53.11 degrees. Let's see. So tangent of that 53.1 is going to equal the opposite, which would be that 4 meters over the adjacent. Oh, so that'll just be the 3 meters. Yeah. So I couldn't figure that out. I wasn't positive. So this is a 3, 4, 5 triangle. We know this one's 4 meters, so this one here is going to have to be 3 meters. If this is 3 meters, and then we know down at the bottom, this is 6 meters. So we also know that this part of it is going to be 3 meters. And also this will be 3 meters. This one's 4 meters up to the top. So basically 3, 4, 5. A little jumbled in there. For that one, so I just made that more difficult than it needed to be. That's basically a 3, 4, 5 triangle also. 3, 4, 5. So now we can solve for these. It looks like they both have x and y components, so it's not going to be super straightforward, but we'll sum the force in the x direction equals 0. I'm just going to move this down and give us more room. And so we get AE times 3 over 5 minus BE times 3 over 5 minus 900, and then minus 1000 times 3 over 5 equals 0. So AE is going to equal 2/3 BE plus 900 plus 1000 times 3 over 5. All of that times 5 over 3. So AE equals BE plus, do calculations, 2500. And then we can sum the forces in the y direction equals 0. So we get 4 over 5 times AE plus 4 over 5 times BE, and then minus 1000 times 4 over 5. These can all cancel out, and that equals 0. And so we get, I'm just going to plug this AE into that. So we get BE plus 2500 plus BE minus 1000 equals 0. So 2BE equals negative 1500. So BE equals negative 750 newtons. So that means I drew BE wrong. So BE equals 750 newtons in tension. And then I can plug that back into this equation up here. So AE equals negative 750 newtons plus 2500 newtons. And so that equals 1750. And we guessed the direction correct. That one actually is in compression. So now we have AE and BE. So we're all set.